Yeah,
Okay.
we're ready to go. So I guess we can just start it off. My cousin here, he's new to this. My brother's heard me yabbing about it for years now. And
So
same with that. Yeah.
so
So just,
LP and Primus are questioning flat Earth. Yes?
Oh yeah, you bet. Sure.
Okay, awesome. And then Joel, him also?
Joel's open-minded, but I don't know how much he's thought about it, to be
All right,
honest.
don't be so open-minded that your brain falls out. Think, use your actual mind. All right, Joel, can we hear you? Is your sound working? Is your sound working, Joel?
Probably.
Yeah, you're on. Cool.
Okay.
All right, and just if there's noise in the background while we're talking, just mute yourselves if you're not talking. All right.
Yes.
So
I do have a friend who lives in the UK. He's joining in at any point, and I've been talking to him about flat Earth for a couple of years, and he's not there yet.
Okay.
I don't know why it says hi Crawford, but it's actually Paul.
Okay, yeah. So that is Paul right there. That is my friend.
Okay. Is he on video or what?
I can go on video if you want me to. Okay.
Yeah, that'd be cool, bro.
Now, oops, that's not.
Quite dark in here.
Very dark.
Okay, let's get rocking. Like, yeah, Dave, this is super sweet that you're talking with us. Really, really, really cool. And like I've told them the main thing, like water sits level, we observe it sitting level. The Earth is supposedly 70% water, and right there, that's just the one that's like smacking you in the face. But yeah, what's your favorite evidence or proof?
My favorite evidence is there's no proof of the globe. Okay, so I used to believe in the globe. Belief is the enemy of knowing, and ego is the protector of belief. Right? I used to believe in the globe because I was told by a teacher or a guy in a bow tie, right? And I was told, hey, boats go over the horizon and disappear from the bottom up. Yes, if the Earth was a globe, boats would disappear from the bottom up. But there's another reason they disappear from the bottom up. We can get into that. But let's start out with questions from you guys. I mean, first, this is a balloon shot from 120,000 feet. The Earth is spinning 1,000 miles an hour below me. Okay, 1,000 miles an hour. The sun is 93 million miles away. Okay, this is the official story, right? On a flat Earth, the sun is small and close. The Earth is stationary, right? Balloons that are launched in Arizona, or like the Red Bull jump, was launched in New Mexico, and he was up there for 3.5 hours, and the Earth did not spin out from underneath him. He should have landed a couple thousand miles out in the ocean, but he didn't. So I'm just trying to find. You guys are familiar with the Red Bull jump, right?
I've seen this thing.
Yeah. So 127,000 feet. And he said he saw the curve, and look at this curve. Wow, amazing. But here's the problem. All of this land, if you look at all the features, if you zoom in, this river here, this is all New Mexico. The last time I heard, New Mexico didn't consist of 1/5 of the Earth. This is a fisheye lens, all right? Besides the fact that the Earth should have spun out and put him out in the ocean a couple thousand miles, he landed east of where he took off. Now, the Earth is spinning to the east. That means he had to go up. He actually had to speed up to outrun the spin of the Earth and then land in front of it. That's insanity. That's absolute 100% insanity. So here's another problem. If you take that picture, whenever you see a curve, size it up to an actual photo, right? An image of the Earth, and look how big New Mexico would have to be. It's big. It's as big as the United States. That's absolute crazy. The other thing is, on a flat Earth, when you go up on a flat Earth and the atmosphere is clear, the horizon rises to eye level. On a globe, the horizon should drop off. The higher you go, the farther you can see, the farther that horizon should be, and it should be lower and lower and lower. When Felix opened the door, the camera behind him was not a fisheye lens, and there's the horizon at 127,000 feet. Okay, so when we look at that, when we compare that to when he actually got in and that camera was on, this is him climbing in at the beginning when he's still on the ground. And look, here's the horizon right here. It's at the same level. That camera is seeing the horizon at the same level that he is at 127,000 feet. If the Earth was a ball, the horizon should be dropping down like it's dropping down here in this simulation. Same height, same level horizon, 127,000 feet. Meanwhile, instead of showing people that, they're showing people, this. They're showing people an animation of the Earth, people in the control room clapping, holding their heads. Absolute insanity. when people believe this stuff. It's absolutely nuts. Here he is, live shot. He opened the door. There's the horizon, right? Here he is, ground level. Horizon's at the same level. The camera didn't move, and neither did the horizon. Camera didn't move, and neither did the horizon. Game over. Earth is flat, guys. Anything else? Any other questions?
Ryan, let's hear a question from you, bro.
Well, wait. So you guys, I see you're listening. Awesome. I'm asking you, what is one reason that you might believe the Earth is a globe?
Well, I think you've already shared that, man.
Like you look up at the moon and it's round.
Okay. Perfect. Let's start there. So let me ask a question. Do you have lights and above you in your room that you're in right now?
Yeah.
Are there lights in the ceiling? What shape are they?
They are round, actually.
Okay, and therefore your floor is round, right?
No.
Bad correlation, right? The lights in the sky have no indication of the ground. Now, I don't believe that the moon is a rock in space. Now, I'm going to show you 4 moons here, okay? And you have to tell me, is the first one a sphere?
It looks
Well, you can't
looks-
see 3 dimensions from here.
Well, it looks like a sphere, and it kind of the ripoff because you're seeing half of the sphere. How about this one? Is this one a sphere right here?
Looks the same as the first one from here, yeah.
Yeah. So it looks like a sphere. It doesn't mean anything because it's flat. How about this one? Is this one a sphere?
Who can tell?
Right. It's a bowl. All right. So
the other way. That's hilarious.
yeah. So unless you can touch it and see it, then it doesn't mean anything. Here, the holes in the middle on this. Can you see the holes in the middle? What shape are they? I'm having a little green screen issue. Can you see the holes in the middle?
Can't see any holes.
They look round. Yeah.
You can't see. There are holes in the middle. But now what shape are they?
Oh, square.
Well, I see them as perfect circles, and now I see them as squares or diamonds. Okay. Why is it? Yeah, I got to change the color of this. My green screen screwing it up. So unless you can physically touch it, then you really can't say what size or shape it is unless you know the distance, right? You don't know what it is. Here's one more example. Are these tables the same width and dimension?
Anybody else can answer.
They're exactly the same, but even though that I'm showing you the trick, they still look different. You can't reconcile in your head. So my point on this whole thing is the lights in the sky have no indication of the shape of the floor that you're standing on. The balls on a pool table have no indication of the shape of the pool table. The lights in your ceiling have no indication of the shape of the floor. And however, we can listen to what NASA and science tells us about some of those lights and do some actual math based on the numbers that they tell us and find out that they're lying through their teeth. But what else you got besides the moon looking around?
Are you saying that the moon and the sun are round?
Oh, the moon sure looks round to me, but I'm saying if you ask me, I don't think they're physical objects, right? I think that they're optical. If you ask me, if you ever look at the moon during the daytime, the craters, the Sea of Tranquility, whatever, is blue, and at nighttime it's black. Maybe the moon is translucent. Why is it when there's a new moon, there's not a black dot in the sky? Because the new moon was blocking the sky. There should be a black dot in the sky. Or when the moon allegedly eclipses the sun during a total eclipse, you got a total eclipse. The moon is blocking out all of the glare from the sun. From the moon's point of view, you have a full Earth, like a full moon. The Earth is 6 times bigger and a lot more reflective with all of its oceans. So the moonshine should light up the moon like a fucking Christmas tree, right? Just like the moon here in the middle of nowhere on a full moon night, you can read a book by. You can drive with your car lights off because the moonshine is lighting up the Earth. How come nobody has ever seen the moon approach the sun, eclipse the sun, or exit the sun? It's not there. Now, we can get into what might be causing the eclipse, but that's not going to prove the shape of the Earth. Anything above where we can reach or beyond where we can reach is speculation.
Is that what you're saying about flat Earth in general? That it's a new speculation. It's not necessarily a definitive fact.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. There's 3 baskets things fall into. Works only on a flat Earth. Like the distances that we can see. Doesn't work on a globe. We can see too far. There's other things that go into works on a flat Earth and it works on a globe Earth, like circumnavigation east and west, work the same on both. Okay. And then there's only works on a globe Earth. And what you'll find is nothing ever goes into that third basket. Eventually, there's a preponderance of evidence that you can go, the truest thing you can say is the Earth is not a spinning globe flying through a space vacuum. That's just insanity. Okay. Once you actually understand the things that you were told and put reason and logic and science behind it, then you could say that. That's a truer statement than saying the Earth is flat. The Earth is testably, measurably, scientifically, provably not moving and level, horizontal. What's holding it up? How far does it go? We don't know, because those things are off limits to us. So when people say there's so much proof of the globe, well, there's no proof of the globe, and there's no proof of flat Earth. Well, there's tons of proof of flat Earth. We can see too far. We can, just all science points to that. So let's talk about space for a second, okay? So you guys believe, and when I say you guys, globe believers, I used to be one of them, so don't feel bad, right? Believe stuff that they don't even know the answers to, right? So anyone that's been studying flat Earth, you're not allowed to answer this, okay? You're defending the globe. Well, let's see if you know about it. I was asked these questions early on, and I didn't know any of the answers. So if you get a 0, you matched my score. How fast is the Earth spinning? Primus, you want to take a shot? At the equator.
I don't know.
Okay, it's spinning at 1,000 miles an hour. The speed of sound is like 600-700 miles an hour. So it's spinning faster than the speed of sound. So when you watch a sunset, the sun isn't moving away and going down due to perspective. It's stationary, and you're falling over backwards faster than the speed of sound. While that's going on, you're orbiting the sun. Joel, you want to take a shot? How fast are we orbiting the sun?
I don't know, man.
66,600 miles an hour. That is a speed that you can't even fathom.
I don't know.
Okay.
Bro.
Yeah, no, it's all right. And then we're chasing the sun at 500,000 miles per hour. All right. So let's just put that into perspective. Okay. So I wish I could have the sound on this. I never can. One day I'm going to get that fixed. But this is the hypersonic sled track. It's going to go by at Mach 8.6. Watch carefully. Didn't even see it, right? Watch it again, right? Mach 8.6. You have to believe that we're traveling around the sun 10 times faster than this. And we're chasing it at 100 times faster than this. Okay? This is what NASA tells us. We're going 10 times faster than this around it, speeding up and slowing down, right? And then we're chasing the sun in another curved trajectory 100 times faster than this. But when we go out in nature, our common sense shuts off and goes, oh, yes, this water is being held on by gravity, right? This water is perfectly stationary. Its container is stationary. Get a dinner plate, fill it to the brim with water, and try to walk it across the room. Or in a car when you're going 50 miles an hour on a perfectly straight road, try holding it there. And if the car speeds up, slows down, or takes the slightest turn, what happens to that water? Okay? This is a stationary world that we live in. Okay? Now, of course, windy days, right? All sorts of things happen. But if the world was moving, we'd see this. Look at this pool. This is during a minor little earthquake, the tiniest little shake of the earth. Not 66,000 miles an hour, 500,000 miles an hour. This is a tiny earthquake. Okay? But we have lakes that are glass. That tells you the container, the shoreline that's holding in those lakes is stationary. Okay? This is an earthquake, a small earthquake. And the water is jumping out of its container.
Dave, question for you, mate.
No.
I've always wondered why, in the age of crowdfunding, you don't just pool together a few bucks and drive a plane in one direction as long as you can.
Where would we drive that plane?
Well, if you don't round back in the same spot, theoretically, if it's flat, you just keep going in one direction. No.
Well, what direction would we be going?
Well, that's not for me to figure out, mate. I'm the one saying.
Yeah.
People in the aviation world say that they go back around, right?
Yes.
And it seems the most provable thing is just getting up in the sky and flying straight until kingdom come.
Here's my question. NASA runs all of the GPS, all of the radar, and all of all flight plans, but they, you can't trust GPS. So how would you know if you're going straight?
I don't know.
Well,
I don't know.
Well, the only answer would be is a compass, because NASA can't control a compass, right? A compass, you know how a compass works. The needle points to the north.
Yeah.
Okay. So imagine the Earth is 24,000 miles around. The North Pole, the magnetic North Pole, is at the center. Okay. I don't know how a compass works on the south. It's going to wrap around. Compasses only work on a level plane, but that's just another part of the story. So now let's shrink the world down to the size of your front yard, whatever. It's just a small front yard, and you have a tree in your front yard, and you're 10 feet from that tree, and that tree is the North Pole. Okay, so you take your needle arm and you point to that tree. This is pointing north, so south is that way, right? Makes sense. West would be that way. Try to walk west. Make sure this needle always stays square and points to that tree. West is a circle, okay? East is a circle. Here it is, magnetic north. The needle is pointing to the north, and I'm trying to push this compass west, but I got to keep turning to the right to maintain that heading of 270 degrees. The needle has to always point towards the north. Now, this is true on a globe also. Right? If I was a mile from the North Pole and the Earth was a globe, I could walk 6.28 miles and I'd be right back to where I started from, heading dead. Now I'm heading east. I leave east and I come right back around to where I started. Now, if I wanted to fly straight, like you said, dead reckon, I'm gonna head west, and I'm not gonna turn the plane. I'm not gonna correct. What happens? I'm already heading south. If you do not correct to the north, you're heading south, no matter what direction you go.
But don't you eventually, no matter what direction you go, eventually, aren't you
you're gonna hit Antarctica.
You're gonna hit something that
you're gonna hit Antarctica.
You're gonna hit, aren't you?
You're gonna hit Antarctica, right?
No matter what, no matter when you get into that plane, no matter what, you're hitting Antarctica.
No matter what, you hit Antarctica. Right here, I'm dead reckoning south, and I should pop up over here if the Earth was a globe. No one's ever done it. No one's ever gone from Santiago and popped up in Australia. Now, I was heading north, and as soon as I passed the North Pole, so I'm still going straight, I'm heading south. Okay, so here's the problem. They tell us Antarctica is the highest land on Earth. It's at the bottom of the globe. Interesting. It's an island down here. If you look up images of Antarctica from space, for some reason, you only get cartoons. There are no photos of Antarctica from space. They're all cartoons. Okay? All right? So, interesting. Nobody has ever gone south, like from Santiago, and crossed over and ended up in Australia. It hasn't happened, right? Nobody has ever gone from Santiago to Australia, right? Well, we're going to look at plane routes in a few minutes, and it's going to be fascinating, right? That might be the thing that tips you, right? So how is the Earth set up? It's set up like this, and we'll talk about this pink line in a second. This is a pond. Let's think of it as a pond, and there's islands in the pond. All the continents and all the islands are islands in the pond. All of them are surrounded by water, but the water needs a container. That container happens to be the highest land on Earth. A puddle, a pond, a lake, the world pond needs land that is consistently higher than the water to contain it. Like if you had a pond and you just got a bulldozer and lowered one end of the pond, the water's just going to flow away until it finds its next base level. Antarctica is the highest plateau on Earth. It's got the highest mountains on Earth. They don't even tell you about that, okay? And it is the container of our world. We live in the Antarctic basin. Now, this pink line here is 1,000 or more miles from Antarctica. You can't even see Antarctica from there. It's 60 degrees south. And back in the 1940s and 50s, the U.S. government started exploring Antarctica. And Admiral Byrd flew out there and said, there's land. This is during all the wars that we're having for resources and power. He says, there's land past the pole. That's a problem on the globe. That's filled with resources, coal, uranium, that natural gas, no human has ever stepped foot upon. Wow, uncharted land, and no one has claimed, filled with resources that can fuel the whole world. And so you know what they did? They created the Antarctic Treaty. Bam. Right back then, a dozen countries signed on. Now they've all signed on. In 1959, this treaty was done. Nobody is allowed to go beyond 60 degrees south with extra fuel, because if you have extra fuel, you might make it to Antarctica. No one's allowed to go there. And if you try to go there, you're stopped by force. There's a series of about 7 islands that are equally spaced around. One of them, if you guys are old enough, the Falkland Islands. Remember the Falkland Island War? Okay, that was off of Falkland Islands is off of, I think it's off of Australia,
Argentina.
No, it's off Argentina. Right. Yeah, that's where it is. And they're run by the Crown, and they have their military bases on them. Anyone tries to go past that is stopped by force. And there's buoys all the way around that form a mesh network because GPS doesn't work down there. Okay, GPS doesn't work out there. Compasses don't work in Antarctica. It's another problem because they're too far from the center. These fishermen said, hey, we're going to see how close we can get. Maybe we can get some good fishing. And they went past it. I'm going to jump forward a little bit. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, bam, a destroyer shows up, sends a drone after them, radios them, and says, you're in restricted waters. Leave immediately. Okay? And then they took off. And same thing, if you fly in there, the rules of engagement are you immediately get an escort, fighter escort, and if you don't turn around, they're gonna shoot you out of the sky. Why is that? We need to protect the penguins and the ice. That's the excuse. It's the last undisturbed land on Earth, and we don't want to pollute it. Give me a friggin' break. That was before the word environmentalism was even a thing. During the Antarctic explorations, there's one video when they were talking about Admiral Byrd's exploration down there, and the announcer in the video goes, off the front of the boat is a pod of pilot whales, each one of them containing over $2,000 worth of oil. Okay? Environmentalism wasn't even a word back then. Right? They were killing whales for oil. All right? Call them bullshit. Next. So getting back to your question, you can't go. And if you could go, you're going to be stopped before you get to Antarctica. So where are you going? You can't go anywhere, right?
Yeah, but wouldn't it be a worthwhile experiment? We have
it's
live
been done.
stream. We have
no. Well, yeah. You can't live stream from out there. There's no GPS coverage, right? You can't go to Antarctica. You can't live stream. And other people have gotten permission to go from their countries. They've gotten there. They've been stopped by the ships. They've been turned around. They've been sent home. And when they got home, they were put in jail. Okay. It's already been done.
If you did it something like the Freedom Convoy in Canada, where the whole thing's live streamed, and
how are you going to live stream from the Southern Oceans where there's no coverage of anything? There's no cell towers. There's no satellites because satellites don't exist. There's no GPS. There's no way to communicate back to the mainland from out there. How are you going to do it?
Can a flat earther buy a satellite?
There are no satellites. Satellites don't exist. All right.
What are they doing the GPS on then?
GPS is a ground-based system. First, people say, well, how do we make all our phone calls, internet? It's all done with underground cables, undersea cables, which actually prove the Earth is flat because there's no cable from Santiago to Australia, which is a short little jog across the bottom of the globe, but it goes all the way up to the north and all the way over, and we'll get into that in a moment. Okay. So the idea of believing in satellites is beyond what I can even explain. So let me just pull up an image here. So you have to believe. Remember all those motions that we're doing? We're spinning and twirling and going. You have to believe that all of these satellites are mimicking all of those motions of the Earth. And like this geostationary satellite right here, which means it stays over the same point of land, is somehow matching the spin, the spiral, and the rocketing of the Earth, and somehow stays in the same spot. And if you say inertia, I'm just going to say you don't know what you're talking about because that's it. It's traveling in 4 different directions at once, and somehow magically staying over the same spot. Satellites never break down. It's absolute insanity to believe in satellites.
So, what's the motivation?
Good question.
To continue the theater of the theater of the round Earth.
Yeah, so the theater of the round Earth is a big important thing. Just remember, in 1959, when Admiral Byrd, when they were exploring Antarctica, the treaty came in, and everyone's like, "What's going on in Antarctica?" All of a sudden, they go, "Hey, we're going to the moon. Look up here, where you can't go, where you can't touch. We're going to go to the moon." And we went to the moon until about the 4th time, where people were calling the TV station, going, "Hey, you're interrupting my I Love Lucy episode." enough of this moon landing crap. And so then they say, okay, we're going to have a war. And then they have a war, right? It's all about distraction. The truth is, they want you believing that you're insignificant, that you are nothing, that you are a speck from a random explosion where nothing created everything. They want you to believe that an asteroid can take you out at any moment, that we're running out of fossil fuels, dinosaur juice. Give me a break. They want you to believe that the dinosaurs became extinct from an asteroid. All nonsense. They want you to believe that other countries are threatening to blow up the world with nuclear bombs. Nuclear bombs don't exist. Okay. They want you to believe we're running out of food when you can take a seed, a 100-year-old seed, stick it into the soil, water will fall from the sky and food will grow out of the ground. Okay. They want you to believe that we're overpopulated when every single family in the United States could have a half an acre in Texas and there'd still be extra land in Texas. Okay. They want you to believe in utter nonsense, to feel powerless, because this is a spiritual war that we're in. Whether you believe it or not, it doesn't matter. The elite believe it, and they're using our energy to create the world that they want. They don't want you to know that you're at the center of creation. They don't want you to know that your thoughts actually manifest your reality. Everything you guys have in your life is because of the way that you think. People that live paycheck to paycheck, and they're like, I'm never going to get out of this. They always live paycheck to paycheck. Other people, they make millions and millions of dollars, and then all of a sudden they're millions and millions of dollars in debt. Right? Imagine if that paycheck to paycheck person became the millions and millions in debt. They'd probably kill themselves because there's no way out. But the guy that's millions of dollars in debt, all of a sudden he makes millions and millions again. He's back up to where he was, and then he loses it again. It's because of the way he thinks. Right? We all manifest our world. People go, well, I want $1 million. And when you say that, you say what you're really sending out there is, I don't have $1 million. I'll never have it. I'm not worthy. And I'm going to be poor the rest of my life. That's the energy you're sending out there. You can't bullshit yourself or the universe, for lack of a better word. Your thoughts create your reality. The elite don't want you to know this. The Matrix, remember the movie The Matrix, the documentary with Keanu Reeves? The Matrix is the heliocentric system. It's a prison for your mind, and people will fight to defend that prison. They'll be like, they'll fight to maintain their prison. If I said to you, hey, let's say we lived in this amazing building that was 20 miles wide by 20 miles wide by 300 stories high, okay, and in it was every business, and there's even fields, baseball fields and just everything, just an amazing building, and farms and just everything. It's all in this building. But anytime you wanted to go to the very edge, about a mile before you got there, they're like, oh, no, this is off limits. You can't go here. Okay. And you're like, all right, fuck it. I met my girlfriend over here. I work in the grocery store on the 190th floor, and there's no windows to the outside. And one day I go to you and go, hey, there's more out there. There's more out there. And you're like, well, what difference does it make? Why would they lie? Why would they lie? Right? Why, they need you to run that building. They need you to make the things that they want. Right? So when I say there's more outside of the building, well, how does that apply to a flat earth? What if they're hiding more land? Okay. Which I believe that they are. Right? So people believe.
Dave, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Because I think the point you made is a really, really good one and beautiful one. Is that not just then saying if our thoughts create our reality, that if our thoughts are creating the flat earth reality, and really, and I'm not trying to be smart. I'm not.
No, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
Is that the reality is not what you see, not it's flat or it's round.
That's not true.
I'm asking a question.
No. My point is.
Good question.
Yeah, I get the question. So you have to draw the line somewhere, and like you can believe that the desk in front of you is real. You can knock on it, you can touch it, you can measure it. Great, it's there, and it's not anything else. It's got a flat surface on it. I'm not relating that to the earth or anything. There's certain things that you can prove. You believe that the earth is a globe, but you have no proof, but you believe it. So that is your reality, okay? Even though your reality is on a flat, non-moving plane. By the way, all FAA documents, CIA documents, all revealed all modeling for all aircraft are done over a flat, non-rotating plane. These are FOIA requested documents that have been unclassified, and they all talk about a flat, non-rotating plane. There's tons of videos showing these documents. Why are they testing all aircraft using a flat, non-rotating plane? So your belief that the earth is a globe, that's your reality. Okay? They don't want you.
Videos.
What's that?
Well, they bury the videos too. Like, why do they bury videos showing this stuff?
Why are they hiding it? Yeah. Like, if you Google,
I don't get why you say you have to draw the line somewhere, because then you're saying you have an absolute truth. And
no, I don't. I don't. But
right?
we don't live on a ball because it's scientifically provable that we don't live on a ball. Water, large bodies of water at rest, lay flat. The Earth is 70% water. I think it's a lot more. And the water doesn't curve, and we can see too far. Like, for example, first, let's go this. What if the world was set up like this? What if we lived here? This is Antarctica. And out here is more land. Extra territory, extra terra. If somebody lived out here, you might consider them an extraterrestrial. And if they came to visit you, you would say they came from the outer space, just a couple thousand miles away, rather than believing that extraterrestrials come from another planet around a star. The closest star, just follow me on this. The closest star is Alpha Centauri. It's 4.5 light years away. This is what NASA tells us, which is 25 trillion miles. 25 trillion miles. How far is that? Well, if you were traveling a mile per second for 1 trillion seconds, can anyone tell me how many miles you've gone? Very easy math. Don't let it trick you. 1 mile per second for 1 trillion seconds. How many miles have you gone?
1 trillion miles.
Say it. How long? How far? If you're traveling 1 mile,
miles.
Very good, very good. Most people can't, their brains don't work that way. It's the dumbest question ever. It's so simple. All right. So if you're traveling for 1 trillion seconds, right, at a mile per second, that's faster than anyone's ever gone. How long is 1 trillion seconds? If you guess it within a week, I'll give you a Bitcoin. Take a guess.
Oh, it's ridiculous. I couldn't even imagine because I've heard the analogy.
It's 31,000 years, okay? 31,000 years. All right. And so if you're traveling for 1 trillion seconds, you're 1/25th of the way to the closest star. The other stars are magnitudes farther. You have to believe that you can see a star that far and that aliens are coming from that star if they happen to be at the closest star and then coming here and crashing in Roswell. That's nonsense. If they're coming from here, I don't even necessarily believe they crashed in Roswell. But if they did, that makes more sense. Okay. They're probably back and forth every single day. Whoever's got all the noise in the background, if you can mute, that'd be great.
Oh, sorry. That's me.
Yep,
Sorry.
Yeah. No worries. So, where's I was going to show you something else, and now it is gone. Another thing is in the heliocentric model, nothing exploded, created everything. Cool story, bro. All right, and then all of the rocks turned into planets, and all of the gases somehow started sticking together and got so big that they had gravity, and it sucked in so many more gases that they created stars that have more mass than the rocky planets. And everything started orbiting each other magically. Okay. And they left a vacuum in between. You know what a vacuum is? A vacuum is no air. Okay. We have and NASA has a vacuum facility that can't even make a full vacuum like they claim space is. And it needs walls 10 feet thick, steel and concrete walls, so it doesn't implode on itself. 10 feet thick. Okay? Right? But we'll get into that in a minute. But now you have burning balls of gas in a vacuum. That's impossible. Okay? Here is simple. Everyone's done this. You got a candle and you put a container over it. Now, is there no more gas in here? No, it just killed all the oxygen. What if I put it over there and I sucked all of the air out? What would happen to the flame? It would be out in a split second, right? Because there's nothing in there. Okay? How are stars burning in a vacuum? No air, no oxygen, no nothing, no pressure, but we have stars burning? And if you say gravity, you've been brainwashed. Gravity is the big G for them. Gravity is their God. Because without the theory of gravity, gravity is just a theory. As a matter of fact, they just switched it from Newtonian to Einsteinian, or Einsteinian to Newtonian. No, Newtonian to Einsteinian. Right? Now NASA says it's no longer the size of something that's attracting it. It's the bending of space-time. The bending of space-time. Guys, you're smarter than this. Okay? They say such fucking nonsense, and people just gobble it up because their brains aren't thinking. They've been taught to memorize and regurgitate. And if you do that, you get an A. And if you get all A's, you can become a teacher and teach the other kids the same nonsense that you were taught. What else?
So if I put water in a bucket and I spin it around, consistent. It will stay stationary and not move around, even though it is moving.
It will. No, it will stay in the bucket. It'll still be rippling on the surface. It won't be calm like I showed you. But what are you trying to compare that to? Gravity or the spinning of the Earth?
I just mean it's not inconceivable that we could be spinning and everything on Earth could still be staying still.
First, if you want to use that as an example, you have to turn the bucket so the open side is facing away from you, not towards you, and while it's spinning, and see what happens to the water then. Because the water is on the outside of the ball, the Earth is spinning, right? You've got the water inside the container facing the center of the spin. On the globe, the water is facing the outside of the spin. So rethink that one.
But gravity is the thing that holds it towards the center. It's not quite the same model, because the buckets, the water is held in by the fact that the bucket is giving an equal and opposite force.
So which gravity are you talking about, Einsteinian or Newtonian?
Well, okay, you're saying that gravity doesn't exist, but what's your explanation then as to why something would change its state of motion?
Good.
For example,
I will answer that. I'll answer what gravity is. Okay. So first, this is called the three-body problem. Okay. You can take the best supercomputers, quantum computers, right? And you can say, okay, I got a sun, it's got this much mass, it's got this much gravity, and I got a planet, and I put it into orbit in the simulation, and it works perfectly. And you can see what it's going to do every day for years and years and years. It knows exactly what it's going to do. It'll predict where it's going to be every second of every day into the infinite future. Then you add a third body, another planet or a moon, into that system. And that computer can only figure out what it's going to do for the next couple of seconds, and then it's over. It's in random mode, and it cannot figure out what it's going to do next. In our solar system alone, forget our solar system has like 80 different bodies in it, with all the moons and planets, right? And we have all these alignments, and somehow they know where everything's going to be. They know when alignments are going to happen. They know all of this stuff, and nothing ever changes. We had an alignment recently. Well, how come nothing tugged on anything? How come when the moon comes around towards the sun, it doesn't speed up towards the sun? And when it goes away from the sun, it doesn't slow down because of the sun's gravity. The sun can somehow hold on to the Earth and Pluto and all of the planets in between, but it ignores all of the moons in between, and only the planet affects the moon. That's nonsense. Okay, absolute and total nonsense to believe that that's the truth. So what is gravity? Okay, what is gravity? Gravity is a theory. If you ask any scientist, it has to do with electromagnetism and electromagnetism. Everything is electric and magnetic. Those are the only forces on Earth. The moon and the sun are the anode and the cathode. The salt water carries the current, and the land is the salt bridge. It's a giant battery system. Okay. And the Earth has a negative charge to it, not a theory, a testable negative charge. The Earth doesn't move. So it's stationary. It's got a negative charge to it everywhere. The sky, whether there's a dome or not, I believe there is positively charged. So anything that comes up off the floor is now in that positive field, surrounded by those positive charge. And the ground, since it's not going to move, says down is this way, come here. And then buoyancy and density sort everything out. So here is... let me see if this is the right video. Here's a little experiment we did. These helium balloons are holding this thing off the floor. And we have this wire going to a Van der Graaf generator, which creates a negative charge. Okay? Right? And no, it creates I think we're adding a positive charge. Sorry. So we're adding a positive charge. And when we add the charge to it, it got heavier. We changed its weight by just adding a stronger positive charge to it. Then we discharge it, and it goes back up. Now that kind of goes along with what we have. Here's another one where we put a negative charge into it, and it goes right up away from the Earth. Okay? These are testable things that support the electromagnetic idea that we have. And now the military is talking about they built a plane, they built an aircraft that has no moving parts, and it flies by electrostatic charge. Okay? Are they defying gravity? Are they defying electromagnetism? Okay? It makes no sense. Right? You believe in gravity. You believe this is going on in Australia. All the gravity is holding on trillions of tons of water. But, we have cruise ships upside down. I can hold my arms up in the air. A butterfly can fly. Right? This is all, we've been brainwashed into believing the system. And people that fight to maintain that belief are just lost and they don't know why they're fighting. They have the worst case of Stockholm syndrome, because the problem is, as I said at the beginning, ego is the protector of belief. Because if you tonight or any time in the future say, okay, the earth is flat, it's way bigger than that. It's like, okay, I've been lied to my entire life. I fell for it my entire life. I can't believe I was so stupid as to believe any of that. And your ego is going to have a hard time with that. But if you lay down your ego and you wipe it, you drop it and you understand that you're at the center of creation, life changes amazing. Life changed amazingly for me. I mean, amazing things are happening because I'm awake and aware. I'm meeting amazing people. Okay. I've lost a lot of friends, but you know what? I look at those friends right now and I'm like, I really don't have much respect for you. I'm sorry. I mean, because people are willingly, the information's out there. Now, look, I was a Glober my whole life because I was never, I mean, the opportunity was there if I looked, but I didn't know where to look. The doors are all hidden. I'm pointing towards doors for you guys. Okay. I'm pointing towards doors, and you have to actually go look through them to see what's really going on. So here's, I thought I had it here. Good. Any questions? Because I have another thing I want to show you.
You can talk about flight routes too. I think that's a good one.
Yeah, that is a good one. I just remember what I was looking for. Okay, so on a flat Earth. Now you know how the horizon works. Like if you go out, you guys live on the water or big open fields. You go, you look out you're out on a beautiful day. And there's white fluffy clouds, spread out clouds, all sitting there, cumulus clouds, and they're 5,000-10,000 feet over your head, whatever. And then you look 20-30 miles in the distance, they're touching the ground. And that's just due to perspective. Everything gets smaller, okay? Even though it's at the same height. So if I go here, here's a bunch of street lights. We know they're all at the same height, but they're going down. This street light is at the same height as this street light, but it's perspective that makes it look smaller. Same thing with the sun and the moon. It's just going away, just like these street lights. It's getting lower and lower and lower. And then this over here, the atmosphere gets really thick. I call it the atmospheric deck of opacity, okay? And once you understand what's going on there. So on a physical ball, on a physical globe, there has to be a physical horizon. So if my fingernail is a boat and I go over the horizon, it disappears. And if I zoom in, still can't see it because there's a physical horizon, right? Coming over the physical horizon. Now, this is what Bill Nye showed us very deceptively. On a flat Earth, that horizon becomes optical. The distance that you can see is where the sky meets the ground, and then your eye can't resolve anything. But now we have super zoom lenses. So out here, look carefully, there's no boat, right? The perspective brings us all the way down. So we're down, and then as I zoom in, I'm increasing this size here, and all of a sudden, there's a boat because I'm increasing the angular size. And then as I zoom out, watch this boat. It's going to disappear from the bottom up, and then it's going to just get too small to see. And now a glober would say, oh, it's going over the curve. Well, it's not moving. I'm just zooming out, and it's gone. It's over the curve, or is it out of your eye's ability to see? Okay, right? The boat's right here, and as I zoom in, I'm zooming in, making it bigger and bigger and bigger, and all of a sudden, I can see there's a boat there. Right? That's how your eyes work. They never taught you that in school. They never taught you how it works. And then sometimes when you look out, this is a, I forget where this was, but it's an empty horizon, completely empty. You can't see any buildings. You can't see any of this building because the angular size from the top of this building to here is too small to see. But when we zoom in, oh, we can see the building, just like we can see that boat. I got to get the video to show you this. But people say, well, the bottom floors are missing. That's because it's over the curve. No, it's behind a wave. And also, there's a thing called atmospheric compression. Look at these buildings. Look at these balconies. They're all the same height, but you can see they're getting compressed. This is an optical thing. Can my finger, if my finger was a wave and my head was the apartment building, can my finger hide half of my face like this? No. But if my finger was closer to you, it could. Can my finger hide my entire fist? Well, if I go like this, as it goes away, it can hide the entire thing. behind my finger. Okay.
Dave, what's the opposite for argument on the last one, the boat one? Like, what is it, the Steelman version, or could you Steelman argument what they would say with regards to why that is?
Oh, they don't. They just ignore it and they go, well, you're not looking at a big enough boat, and we have another one here, and they have all of these deceptive videos. We can see too far. On a ball 24,901 miles around, like they tell us, a 6-foot tall person standing at the edge of calm water is required at the maximum to see a horizon at just 3 miles away. Because at 3 miles is a 6-foot drop. If the globe is the size that they tell us, a 6-foot drop, that means that the surface of the water is hidden. Okay, it would be hidden beyond that. But again, we can see things at known distances that we can just see too far. So, for example, here is a couple oil rigs, right? Couple oil rigs, and they we know the distance, the height of the camera is a foot off the water. The horizon, according to globe mass, should be 9.4 miles away. Actually, no. This is 9.4 miles away. The horizon should be like 1.2 miles away. And there should be 59 feet of curvature. But not only can we see the bottom, there is some compression and some distortion, but we can see the water surface for dozens of miles beyond it. That water should be over the curve. It should be blocked at just 3 miles if I'm 6 feet tall. And if I'm lower, it should be blocked even closer, like the camera. But we can see too far. These are undeniable things, but Globers will just be like, oh, blah, it's rising. Look, and here are mountains. Mountains. But what's happening? They're getting lighter and lighter and lighter and lighter and lighter. There's more mountains back here, but you just can't see them because they become the horizon. They become the sky. They become the same color. So here's a very important one, and then I'm going to show you how this happens. You're going to like this. This is a famous viewing spot in Aluja, France, and they're looking out here. Mount Canago is 175 miles away. On a globe Earth, 175 miles is ridiculous. The top of Mount Canago, according to globe math, should be hidden a mile below a physical curve, and you have to believe that this is a physical curve, the horizon right here. But twice a year, the sun, during its migratory path between the two tropics, lines right up with the viewer and the mountain. Now, the light that's bouncing off the mountain, if it was dark, you couldn't see the mountain. You couldn't see anything. If it was dark, if I turned off all the lights here, you couldn't see me because there's no light bouncing off me. The light that bounces off Mount Canago can't push through 175 miles of atmosphere because it's like looking through a pool that's a couple hundred yards long. You can't see the other end. It just becomes too thick. But twice a year, it lines up with Mount Canago and backlights it. The sun's light can push through that far. And it lines it up. The very top of Mount Canago here should be a mile below the curve. And the Glober argument is the mountain is behind the curve. The sun has already set, but it's magically refracting up and stopping at eye level. And I just say, stop it. Stop it. You're better than this. This is not a mirage. It's right there. It's impossible to see on a ball. The Earth has to be 1,000 times bigger than they tell us. That still doesn't work because there'll still be curvature. And that's a problem. If it's 1,000 times bigger, they're hiding more land. Okay? Or it's flat, and it is flat. Flat isn't a shape. It's level and horizontal. We call it flat.
So what's above and below, mate, when it's flat? Like, what do you, in this view, see as the end game of the end, I guess, discussion point is the Earth is flat. It's the center of the existence of the universe. I can't remember what you said at the beginning.
We're the center of creation. The Earth system is the basement of the universe. That's how I describe it. It's an extended plane. I don't know how far it goes. I don't know. I'm not allowed out there. Maybe it goes on forever. Maybe there's other ponds. Maybe there's ring after ring after ring. Maybe there's puddle after puddle after puddle, and they all have their own suns. Maybe there's just us, and it goes on and it terminates. We don't know. But did you ask what's below the Earth?
Or above, either or. Like, if you have a viewpoint on that.
I absolutely do. So the deepest hole ever dug, I believe it's in Russia. It might even, where are we at war? I lost. Where's the friggin' war? It's in Kiev or
Ukraine.
Ukraine. Why I'm thinking Kiev. I believe this hole is in Ukraine. I could be wrong. It's the deepest hole ever dug is just short of 8 miles, and they were using ground penetrating radar to see what they were going to hit next. And every time they were wrong, like, oh, there's no more water, they hit water. Oh, there's no more rocks, they hit rocks. Okay, so the ground penetrating radar didn't work. Now let's compare it. If the Earth was an apple, they barely drilled halfway through the skin of the apple They were wrong every step of the way. They hit an impenetrable barrier that they tried for years to go through and they couldn't. But then they knew what the next 4,000 miles are. They knew that there were seeds at the center of the apple. Okay? Nonsense. It's absolute pseudoscience. They show us this in school. How did they know when they couldn't guess what was in the outer crust? Okay? How did they know what's in here? And to make it worse, they're laughing at us because there's a molten magnetic core. A molten magnetic core. Look up magnets and the Curie point. The Curie point is when you heat a magnet up, before it melts, it loses all of its magnetism. There is no magnet in the world that is a magnet when it's heated up to its Curie point. Okay? So a molten magnetic core is like saying military intelligence. It's ridiculous. So what's above us? Great question. Thanks for asking. So whenever we watch a rocket launch from NASA or SpaceX, if we get to see the path, it goes up, it goes out, and it crashes in the Bermuda Triangle. Okay, because that's not because nothing actually goes up into space. But however, in New Mexico or Arizona, they had the Go Fast rocket. And these guys had 2 cameras on it, and they gave us an uninterrupted view. Unlike NASA, they edit. You don't see anything. But this thing went up 72 miles, and then it hit something. It went kerplunk. It went into something thicker, maybe not water, maybe like plasma, okay? And so it hit something. So the highest that we believe anyone's ever gotten is 72, 73 miles. But here's something that's interesting that happened. Watch carefully. It's going to turn on its side, and all of a sudden, we can see the moon right there. There's the moon. Flat horizon. There's the moon. Well, where was the moon when this thing took off? Okay. So the moon was actually over Australia. Here's the moon. Here's the sun. It took off over here. So if the Earth was a basketball and the top was where the rocket took off, it's a fraction of a millimeter over the basketball, and the moon is underneath the basketball. How did it see the moon? You guys believe in NASA? Please say no. Please.
How about the jury's out?
you remember the Challenger that blew up, and then the school teacher and everyone else was killed and everything, right? You remember that? You guys remember that? You guys remember the Challenger disaster? Anybody?
No.
Nobody. How old are you guys? Freaking 12? The Challenger disaster. Space shuttle went up, it blew up, and it killed everybody. It killed everybody. That's usually the biggest argument. So now I'm not even going to show you. So let's talk about something that we can prove, right? So the space shuttle is about the same size as a 747, okay? About the same size as a 747. Trying to find an image here. And you guys know how big a 747 is. So you've seen a 747 on the ground, pretty big. Space shuttle is supposedly about the same size. A 747 flying at cruising altitude of 5-6 miles is the size of a pencil eraser held at arm's length, and you could barely see it. It's grayed out. Like you couldn't see the engines on it, but you can see the shape. You can see the wings. It's tiny. Okay. If you doubled the height of a 747, could you see it? And the answer is no. Its angular size would be too small, just like that sailboat. It would be too small to see, right? Well, people claim they see a light. I've seen it. I've tracked the space station up. There comes the light. It goes across the sky. It's huge. It's brighter than any star in the sky. It's brighter than any planet, right? It's 50 times higher than that 747. How the hell am I able to see it? I could not see a 747 at double the altitude that it is. That thing's 50 times higher. 50 times higher, right? What nonsense are they pulling on us? Okay? If you actually look at here's a shot of an airplane pivoting. Where am I? I'm gone. An airplane. Here I am. An airplane pivoting, crossing the moon, and here's the supposed space shuttle. They're both about the same size. How's that possible? I track the International Space Station. I was like, oh, it's going to do a transit at 6:05, whatever. Boom, 6:05. There it was on the horizon. It cruised across. I watched it for 8 minutes heading west. 8 minutes. Okay, was it heading west? Whatever direction it was heading. 8 minutes. It's going 17,500 miles an hour. I live in Connecticut. It should have been in California by then, but it wasn't, and nobody in California can see it. Only the people in Connecticut and Pennsylvania, you know. And then all of a sudden, it disappears, and nobody can see it. We had a NASA whistleblower, unconfirmed because they were keeping anonymous, and they disappeared. Said that the way they trick us is there's 5 B-2 bombers that have been re-outfitted with some transparent parts and LED lights that are the same tone as the sun. And there's 5 of them, 2 in Alaska, 1 in Russia, and I don't know where the other 2 are. And they take turns doing these flybys to do these moon and sun transits just to convince people that we live on a ball.
Dave, what was that? I hear you loud and clear. Those are very, very, very interesting points. But what was your answer to the question of what you think is above us?
I think there's a dome above us. I don't know what it's made out of because I'm not allowed to go there. There's so let me go to the app for a second. So in the app, under, if you hit the question mark button and then you hit the Antarctica button, there's a bunch of videos. I would say if you watch the first 5 videos, you got down to this one, you're going to have some major questions. The first one is, it's going to blow you away about what's going on in Antarctica, the treaty. And the other ones will show you a bunch of other stuff, but then the sky ice. They say the real ice that they're experimenting with out there is this blue ice. It looks like the sky, and it doesn't melt. It just evaporates. It just shrinks until it's gone. And they can't remove it from Antarctica because it's so cold that they don't have anything to keep it cold enough to make it last. It just shrinks and disappears. Okay, so there's one story is that they were drilling through the mountain of ice. Maybe it's the dome terminating, and it went in for miles and miles and miles, and then slowly over the year or so, the tunnel started closing up behind it, and they couldn't get it out, so they left, and then it closed up, and it kind of healed itself, and now 10 miles into this mountain range or this dome is a ice borer frozen in there. Interesting stuff. Haven't been there. Can't prove any of it. Anything beyond the shoreline of Antarctica is speculation. Anything above 73 miles is pure speculation. But getting back to the censorship, if you Google flat Earth, hey, circumnavigation on flat Earth, or top 10 reasons the Earth could be flat, or anything with flat Earth in it, you're going to get the same exact videos, all propaganda videos pushed by the Google. Okay. And it's like, why aren't I getting the answers that, the videos? If you even search, A Stranger's Guide to Flat Earth, 21 Questions, pretty unique title. You're not going to get that. You're going to get the propaganda videos. Why is Google doing that? Why are they hiding it? This app will bring you to all of them, all of those videos. The question mark will bring you to all the questions that you have. Hey, what about Coriolis? Or what about ships over the horizon? What about eclipses? Interesting one there. Click any one of those, like the eclipses. Here's a whole bunch of videos that Google won't serve you, and you'll learn what you never learned before. Let me just show you just real quick. I don't know if you guys know how the sky works. The sky is a perfect clock. The sun is the hour hand. It goes around once a day. Wherever the sun is, it's noon. Whoa. There we go. Wherever the sun is, it's noon. It laps the moon once every 28 days. So there's our lunar cycle. There used to be 13 months of 28 days, moons. Okay. Let me just slow it down here. And so the moon keeps track of the weeks and the months. And if I turn on the stars are going slightly faster than the sun. So the sun will drift back into each one of those zodiacs for about a month. In our heliocentric corkscrewing nonsense beehive solar system, go out tonight, chart the stars at whatever time, say, okay, I see this little pattern here, I got that, draw a little chart, put it away, set an alarm for next year, same night, same time, and then go out to the same spot and look up at the sky. Every single star will be the same. Okay? Every single star will be in the exact same position. How is that possible? Unless they're fixed in the sky, they're spinning around us, they never move, right? We're going in all of these directions at once. And and nothing ever changes. That's impossible. Okay. You guys know about the Georgia Guidestones? Georgia Guidestones are in Georgia, down in the South here, where it has the 10 Commandments, new 10 Commandments on it. Look into that. All right. But there's this little hole. And when you look through that hole, what we see is Polaris. The time lapse will show us all the stars circling around. If we're corkscrewing in all these different directions, how do they make perfect circles? Okay. And the other thing is, how does Polaris stay in this hole? It's been up for over 40 years. Now, even in the heliocentric model where they say, oh, even though we're moving 4.5 billion miles a year, never to return where we were the year before, the other stars are so far away that they know there's no parallax. You know, parallax, like the trees right next to you on the highway are whizzing by you while the mountain in the distance is moving very slowly. That's parallax. Okay. They never move. But even in the heliocentric model, they say that in 4,000 years, we're going to have a new North Star. Well, do the math. Over 40 years, our North Star should have moved over 0.5 degree already, which would put it way out of this hole. But it's still there. It's still in the same position it was when this was built, when the pyramids were built. It hasn't moved. Okay? This stuff is right in our face. Here's another, this is a war memorial. And every year on 11/11 at 11:11 a.m., they love their 11s, and very interesting. All of these pillars have these holes in them, and the sun lines up with this hole and lights up this emblem on the ground. How is that possible in a heliocentric system with planetary alignments and we're traveling in all these different directions? How does this happen every year? The sky is a clock. The globe deception is less than 100 years old. Less than 100 years old. It's not 2,000 years old with Aristophanes. It's nonsense. They were teaching flat Earth up into the 1950s and 60s here on Earth in America. Okay, they were teaching both, and then they removed it. The Rockefellers removed it from our system, right? There is zero proof for the globe, zero. And anyone here that can leave here today and says, I still believe in the globe, and the best thing that you should be able, I mean, best or worst, I don't even know, is Dave pointed out a lot of things. I got a lot of work to do if I want to make a decision, but I don't know. That's fine. That means you're just a little lazy. But once you understand the deception, everything changes.
So so just to make a bit of a statement more than a question, it's like everything that you're telling us, it's like, unless I can personally verify it, then I'm going to have to choose to believe what you're telling me versus believing what somebody else tells me.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Okay. I can get on board.
Let me just, you'll finish in 1 second.
Okay.
Do the math, figure out the globe math, figure out how far things should be blocked, get a super zoom camera, go to the beach, go to where the water, water is the best because there's like a little hill in the distance will block an entire city, and zoom in on things that you shouldn't be able to see. That's not believing, that's knowing. That's what I did. I went into flat Earth to disprove it. And I was like, I'm sick of hearing about it. I'm just going to disprove it. And I saw all these, we can see too far. And I went to prove it myself. I got a tripod. I bought a super zoom P900 camera. I zoomed in on a buoy almost 11 miles away. At 10 miles, there should be 66 feet of curvature. I can see this 10-foot high buoy. How the hell is that possible? All right, go ahead.
No, I totally agree that people could set that up. I would be curious to know how many people who believe in flat Earth have actually gone through and done all those experiments exactly for themselves.
Glad you asked. So if you hit the question mark button, there's all sorts of videos here, but the newest button on the bottom here, tons of experiments done by a whole bunch of people, all distance experiments, highly documented, cameras, GPS, just everything showing where everything's done, fully documented. If you hit that button and watch these videos, you will see all of these experiments. Okay, there's tons of people doing experiments, and now with the friend finder, if I hit the little handshake button, this shows you where other flat earthers are in relation to you, and people are using this. Let it load for a second. People are using this to find to do other spots. Like I might tap this dot right here, and I could send that person a message, right? That's John. I could actually hit John's profile and see what he's about and say, hey, John, I'm over here and the distance between here and here, let's do a test. And we do tests. People are doing that all the time. There's tons of people and they're all being documented, right? And if you wonder, how many people, there are. If I go here and we just take a look, this is a map that'll load a little faster. Look, these people are all active flat earthers. They're doing experiments, but you're not going to find it on the mainstream, right? They're all over the world. Look at the UK. It's covered with flat earthers, right? These are people that are awake and aware. And by the way, these are awesome people, every single person on here. And people are using this friend finder to find jobs, to find romances, to find new friends, because every dot on here, whether it's a male or a female, is the best match to be a friend or a partner with you than any dating site or friendship site will ever do, because all these people are already awake and aware. And that's all you need, right? Someone's awake and aware. That's 99% of your relationship.
There, O'Neill, you can get off Bumble now, buddy.
This is the best. Good.
Dave, I got two questions left, and then I'll leave you alone. I really appreciate this presentation. I really do. And one is, you've mentioned spirituality a couple of times, and so I'm curious, what is it? This is the first question. What is it that you're suggesting needs to be thrown out? Is it just the old science and the old school learnings and the NASA's, but a lot of the spiritual texts, people who believe in zodiac signs, astrological signs, energy healing, all that stuff remains in this model? And the second piece of the question is, the mainstream tends to just follow the populace, especially now. Populist politics is very, very current. What if those dots just become the norm and everybody believes in flat Earth? Then they accept it and say, we were wrong. New science takes it over. Where do we go from there? What happens?
Yeah, that's a good one. First, when I say you, Globers believe in the globe, but they have no proof. Flat Earthers know we don't live on a globe. So saying we believe in flat Earth, that's unfair. Believing in the globe is not like knowing the Earth is flat. Knowing the Earth is not a globe. And the truth is, when people wake up to this, they unplug from the matrix, from the heliocentric system, and they stop feeding into the system. Well, they take their kids out of school. I would say most of the people that are able to are homeschooling their kids, right? There's so many better ways to run this world. When everyone realizes, when this tips, all universities will shut down. Religious centers are going to shut down. Politics, governments are going to shut down. It's going to be mayhem. Okay, because people are going to be like, wait a minute, all of space is fake. All the space programs are fake. Elon Musk, everything he's ever done isn't real. Okay, Elon Musk hasn't done anything. He's not the owner of Tesla. He's just a puppet put out there. Okay, his entire thing, we're going to Mars, utter nonsense. Okay, there's a 5-minute video I could send you that just shows you what nonsense it is. So it's not just going to happen like, hey, the Earth is flat. When people realize that we're at the center of creation, you take your power back. Look at Neo at the beginning of the Matrix. He's controlled by the Matrix. He's lost. He's working for the devil, whatever. He's lost in the system. He doesn't know who he is. He's depressed. Then look at Neo at the end of the movie when he unplugged from the heliocentric system. He now took his power back and nobody controls him. The only control anybody has over any of you is in your imagination. It's just in your imagination. And that's the thing. People are like, well, your lead have all the power. They don't. We have all the power. They've just convinced us to give it to them. They can't take it from us. There's rules here, and they're very simple. Don't kill anybody. Don't break anyone's free will. That's part of, don't kill them. And they can trick us, though. They always tell us what they're doing. And then if we don't say no, we're saying yes in their book. And they are deathly afraid of us coming together. So what do? They divide us. They divide us by countries. You know that there used to be a worldwide civilization in the 1800s called Tartaria, right? An advanced civilization. The entire story of the 1800s is nonsense. Absolute nonsense. In the app, and I suggest that you bring food and water. If you click this button, you click the web button right here, Tartaria mud floods, start watching those videos. Your whole world is going to collapse. If you really want to blow yourself away, watch this button. Top video is 5 hours. 5-hour video? Come on. All right. Someone sent it to me. I'm not watching a 5-hour video. Right. And then one night around 11 o'clock, I'm doing some stuff. And it's like, let me just put this on, something to listen to while I'm doing my stuff before I go to bed. Next thing I know, it's 4 a.m. and my head exploded. I was like, holy crap. And I watched it again the next day. Okay. the amount of information that you can get, the amount of just literally, by the way, I don't recommend watching this right away because literally your head could physically explode and you'll be dead and headless. Okay. It's that much information. So I'm being a little sarcastic. But once you start seeing this, everything changes. People go, what difference does a shape make? Shape makes no difference. It's the fact where you are, who you are, what you are, and the power of your mind. What difference does it make? I have to go to work? Well, guess what? I had my own I worked up corporate America, left corporate America, started my own company, super successful, and I walked away from it all to do this. That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. But nothing could be better, okay? Life is amazing. Every flat earther can tell you that they're never bored because this creation that we're in the center of creation. And this place is beyond what anybody could ever imagine, right? And there is no excuse ever to be bored for 1 second of your entire life. I remember there's times I used to stare at the wall waiting for 20 minutes to go by or whatever, or just turn on the TV, mind control, the tell-lie vision programming, flashing 60 hertz, you're hypnotized, okay? It's all programming. It's all nonsense, and it is to control you. And it's controlling most people so much that they don't want to listen, and they're going to fight to defend their captors. So there you go. So saying that it's just going to become the norm, it will, but everything else is going to change. All the ruling class, they're all done. The ruling class have zero power other than what we imagine. They control us with fake money. Wait until we get off of their money system and we get on our own money system, real money, privacy, cryptocurrency. Okay. That's the only way that we're going to lose if we keep playing on their monopoly board and in their friggin' heliocentric nonsensical system, right? Get off of their system, realize who you are, realize what power you are, and stop playing with their monopoly money. And you think I'm kidding? Go get monopoly money and compare the 1, the 5, the 10, the 20, the 50, and the 100 to our money. It's the same colors. Our money is the same colors as the monopoly money, okay? And once we stop doing that, then that's how they control us. They control us with money. They don't need money because they just type numbers in the computer and get whatever they want. They get us to make it for them. They get us to manifest it for them. I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, it definitely answered the second part. I felt like a mic drop moment. I don't know how much time you have, but I was curious about, Andre made a comment about the astrological signs were, correct me, I only saw it flash up, but actually connected to the flat earth. And you actually said the religions would end. And I would, I'm just curious again, where.
So you've heard the term divide and conquer. Well, that's how they do it. There used to be Tataria. Then they divided us up by countries. That's all fake. The Cold War, how many battles were there? None. Because it's not real. Russia, America, China, they all work together, okay? There are some rogue shit going on out there, and it's all run by the Rothschild banks. Like, this is all about getting central banks everywhere and making a one world government. Not going to get into all of that, but they divide us by countries. They divide us by states. They divide us by religions. They divide us by political parties, sports teams, sexes. They're dividing the sexes. Then they're separating us. They're putting shame muzzles on us, slave muzzles, and making people afraid of other people. Okay. Don't touch me. Don't look at me. You're going to, everybody is divide because they know if we come together. Now, like flat earthers out there, they're people, some of them are shy, don't want to say much. But then when a flat earther meets another flat earther, two flat earthers together, their courage goes up 100 times. I call it's like synergistic toxicity. And that what that is, and it's the opposite of that. It's synergistic, synchronicity, whatever. Just so people know what synergistic toxicity is you inject 100 rats with X amount of mercury, 2 of the rats will die, okay? Then you get another 100 rats and you inject them with thimerosal, and 1 or 2 or 3 of the rats will die. But then you get another 100 rats and you inject them with both, and all the rats die, okay? And so the opposite of that is 2 people coming together just become more powerful, more brave. I don't know if that was a great analogy, but it's the same thing. And with the app, people are coming together in large groups and they're going out and waking up more people. It is growing so fast right now. The only way they can stop it is if they literally flip the tables over, turn out the friggin' lights, disconnect the internet, and shut off the food supply, which they're trying.
We've certainly seen that in other things recently too, haven't we, Dave?
Yeah. I mean, and by the way, you know, before I said that the globe lie is less than 100 years old, it really is. I did my interview with Ruth, a 102-year-old woman in 2020, in February 2020, and she said that she was taught in elementary school that the Earth was flat. They didn't teach globe Earth at all. It's absolute nonsense. But talking about every 100 years, and I'm not going to say too much because this is going on YouTube. In 1720, this happened. Everybody was doing this. Everybody was getting this, and everybody died. In 1820, this happened. Everybody was doing this. Everybody did this, and everybody died. In 1920, same thing. And in 2020, look what's happening now. What the hell is going on? And people are falling for it. You ever hear the term, there's nothing new under the sun? Okay?
Huh?
Nothing new under the sun. And they're lying about the amount of people on Earth. Okay? What do you mean? What do you mean they're lying about the amount of people on Earth? Okay? So let me show you a thing. Right now, they're telling us that you have to go for your fourth thing, right? I don't know if you guys have got the thing, but there's everyone on Earth, you know, almost everyone has had one or two, okay? And there's 7.8 billion people, they tell us. 7.8 billion people, okay? Here's the problem. 7.8 billion people, okay? If in a year, there's 31,536,000 seconds in a year. So if they got one of the things stuck in their arm, if they made one thing every second, that would be, and if a company can make one per second, that's really fast. And there's 5 companies, that would be 157,680,000 per year. Okay. But let's say each one of those companies had 5 plants that can make them per second. So now we're making 25 a second, right? Which isn't the case. There's no way that's happening. That would mean it would take 10 years to make one for every person on Earth. They're lying about everything. There's nothing that comes from the government, from the news, that is truthful. Nothing. Nothing. Oops.
Dave, I'm grateful for your time, brother. I don't want to keep you if you got to go.
Any final questions? I'm happy to wrap up.
I have a question.
Yeah.
What causes the sun to rotate around the central point?
That's a great
in your
question.
model?
I don't believe that the sun is physical, and I think that the sun is within or above the firmament, the dome, and that we're seeing a reflection within our system. And what makes you say, how could a reflection be so hot and so bright? I was sitting at a poolside in Vegas. It was 3:30 in the afternoon. The sun was over here, and it's toasting the right side of my face as I was eating my fajita. All right. And I was like, I got to go to the other side, or I'm going to be literally sunburned on one side. But then over to my left, 100 yards away, was the hotel. This big mirrored section, and the sun lined up with the mirror, and it was hitting the left side of my face. And it looked the same because it's a mirror. And I closed my eyes, and I said, if I didn't know which one was the real sun, could I tell by the heat, by the brightness? And I couldn't. It was exactly the same. So that led me to think, like, the sun that we're seeing could be a reflection. Okay. I encourage you to hit the button here, go to the eclipses page, and there's a couple of videos that I made in there showing how the sun is being projected into our system. Okay. So what makes it go around? I don't know. The creator, I don't think it's a physical thing. It's small and it's very, very close here on Earth. But the way the sun works, it goes around once a day. And every month it takes 6 months to go into this inner yellow line. So in June, it goes to the Tropic of Cancer. One more. So in June, the sun is all the way in here. And that's when our inner north has our summer, because the sun is close to us. Yeah. Just like if you're under a street light, the street light that's above you is your summer sun, and the street light down the road is your winter sun. It's farther away. It's lower. Okay. All right. And so here it's hot in Miami in the summer because the sun goes right over Miami. All right. It's winter in Australia because the sun is far away from Australia. But 6 months later, the sun will migrate out to the Tropic of Capricorn, and it's summer in Australia because the sun is directly over them. And it's winter here in the inner north because the sun is far away. Far away, lower in the sky, less heat. in and out. Everything in between the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn is the tropics. The sun's never far away from them, and it's always warm there. And it passes over them twice a year. It only comes towards us once a year, and then it goes away. Seasons only make sense on a flat Earth. Hit the question mark button, hit the what about seasons button right there. Watch those videos. That alone will prove to you that we don't live on a globe. Absolutely 100% undeniable. There's a million proofs we live on a globe. We live on a flat Earth. Oh, Freudian slip. I'm a shill. And there's 0 proofs that we live on a globe. All right. Anything else?
Can I have one more?
Yeah.
Okay. I've heard, and I don't know if this is true, but I believe it's true. That
Can I guess?
The
Can
Big
I guess?
Dipper.
Oh, okay. Go ahead. Go
The
ahead.
Big Dipper.
Yeah.
The Big Dipper is upside down in the in the southern hemisphere compared to the northern hemisphere.
Yeah.
And that can only happen if you're either on a curved ball or if the Big Dipper is closer to us than the 2 points from which you're looking at it.
Yeah. Well, these pictures were taken at the same time, and the moon's upside down in one of them and not in the other. That is, and by you saying, it's showing how, don't take offense, mind controlled you are to say it could only happen that way. You could say the only way I can think of it happening is on a globe, on a curved surface. But the truth is, if we were both in the same room and I drew a 6 on the ceiling and you went to one side of the room and I went to the other side of the room, I'm going to see a 9 and you're going to see a 6.
But it requires the 9 or the 6 to be very close to you relative to the distance between us.
Absolutely. So we sent a balloon up. Instead of having the cameras looking down, which they always do, or sideways, we had the cameras, high def cameras looking up, and we launched it at night in Arizona. Super clear night. You could see the stars, unbelievable. Well, as that thing goes up higher and higher, the stars should get brighter and brighter, right? Because we're getting above the thickest part of the atmosphere. Well, guess what? 40, 50, 60,000 feet, all the stars were gone. Explain that in a heliocentric world. I was flying from California at midnight to Australia, and I was so excited to be over the middle of the ocean. In the middle of the night, I was like, I'm going to look at the stars. This was before I was a flat earther. I just wanted to see the stars. And I looked out, and there was like 2 lights in the sky, and I think they might have been airplanes. Like, there's no fucking stars. I was like, I couldn't believe it. And so the stars that we see in the sky are not what you think, right? If you want to look at what stars are, you're going to like this. This is the star Sirius. And when today's optics have outgrown their lies, look at this, right? This is what a star really looks like, right? Here's my favorite. And you can see this with your naked eye. This is Capella. This is what it looks like with your naked eye. Zoom in. What the hell is this? This isn't a burning ball of gas billions and trillions and trillions and trillions of miles away. Okay? They're lying about everything. There's a whole bunch of stars. What are we seeing here? Now, some of these may be a little out of focus, but that's okay. Sometimes that'll reveal stuff that you can't see. Some of them are dead on focus. Like this is one. This is Arcturus. What the hell is going on here? Okay? What are stars? Let me tell you, this is what I think. All of the luminaries we see in the sky, other than the ones that are airplanes, are alive. They're sentient. The Earth is alive, and we're part of this system. The entire thing is alive and growing, and we're part of it.
And it happened through the creator, Dave?
It certainly wasn't a random accident, you know?
Mm-hmm.
What happened to me? I'm gone again. Oh, there
You turn into a cat.
There you go. There you go. Everything they show us is fake. Everything.
How many players do you estimate
Players
need to be in the know?
That's a great question. There's not that many, but the elite know. You know, Elon Musk knows. I would say I don't think Biden knows. I don't think he knows anything. There, not as many as you think, and you got college professors, they don't know. The ones that they're the most indoctrinated of all. It's unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
It's unbelievable.
And what about the jobbers at NASA? What about the non-higher ups, the non-elites, the NASA or anything like NASA, right? Like
Yeah. So we actually were talking to another NASA person, and they said the compartmentalization there and the security levels are so many, no one's allowed to talk to anybody. Years ago, one of the people in the Apollo missions that worked in the control room that we saw a lot of footage of said that they practice simulations so many times that are so good that they can't tell the difference when it's a real mission. Maybe they can't tell the difference because it's another simulation. Okay, they can't tell the difference. People that one of our guys was talking to the head of Hubble, the telescope, the fake telescope, and he admitted that he's never seen a live feed from Hubble. Never. Okay, never seen a live feed, and he's the head of Hubble. And we proved to him that the images that they're supposedly getting from Hubble come from Sophia. Sophia is a 747 that has a side door on it with a giant telescope that flies high and can take some pictures. And that some of the images that were coming from Hubble were actually coming from Sophia. The guy was shocked and amazed when we showed him. So I would say there's not nearly as many people working at NASA as you think. And a vast majority of them don't know. Recently, they were doing a repair mission on Hubble. This picture's from like 20 friggin' years ago, whenever it was put up, right? But they did a mission and they tweeted it. It's the same exact friggin' picture, same clouds. They did a mission to fix Hubble and they couldn't take another picture. Okay? Everything about space is fake. Everything. I mean, when we look, at the nonsense that they pull up there, let me show you a different one. Like this is Don Pettit, the dumbest guy on earth, astronaut, who's showing how he made a cup out of plastic that he could put coffee in. But something happened. This is all augmented reality. Watch the coffee. Oh, it came out of sync with the cup. It came out of sync with the cup, showing you that this is fake. Right? They use all different types of things. These guys are in front of a green screen. They're hanging from wires with their giant belts. What, their pants are going to fall down? There's all these glitches. And watch right here in his arm. Oh, it revealed the green screen. No excuse for that. It's a green screen. This is a green screen glitch. It happens all the time. Happens all the time. This ball is real. It's filled with helium. This is not real. Did you watch it? Watch it beam in again. Watch. And now she's manipulating it. It's called augmented reality. Right? People have no idea at the what they can do now, right? This is not Morgan Freeman. This is not a real person. Neither one of these are real people. But it sounds like him, it looks like him, but it's digital. This is all digital. They can do whatever they want. None of this is done with real people, right?
Are you saying, Dave, that I know I'm the one that has to go in a few minutes, but are you saying that tech that we are sort of just being introduced to now at that level of sophistication has always been the case?
No, I'm saying because the old stuff doesn't even hold up. When you look at the old space stuff, a lot of times they're doing it in zero-G planes. A lot of times they're hanging from wires. It's all horrible. The old stuff doesn't hold up at all. On the app, if you click are all space agencies in on it. So many videos in there. So many. people are like, well, they didn't have Photoshop back then. Well, you look at the images of Earth, they're paintings, right? They're all paintings, right? And people believe that, people want to believe that this is a photograph, right? This is a photograph, right? And then nobody could paint this, right? Is this a photograph or a painting? Could be a trick question. You don't know. It's a painting. This is a painting. What do you think is harder to paint? That or this? Right? And when all the different space agencies show their pictures of Earth, they all got different artists that have different paint palettes. These are all official space agency pictures of Earth. This is the blue marble that was on everyone's iPhone. They admit that they made it in Photoshop. NASA admits it. It's insane to believe that anybody. Here's the thing. Where do I live? Anybody?
Connecticut.
Do you know that or do you believe it?
But you told me that. I just was hoping for a Bitcoin.
Do you know it or do you believe it?
I believe it. I don't know it. I can't prove it.
Absolutely right. Absolutely. Well, you probably could. You could probably take a couple hours and find me on Facebook and find all my connections, and then you'll find my job history, and you'll be like, yeah, he's probably in Connecticut, and so then you'll know. But until you do the work, belief is easy. You can believe I live in Connecticut, and your job is done. Go smoke a joint, take a nap, drink a beer, whatever you want to do. Okay. But if you want to know something, it takes time and effort to confirm these things. And people are not wired that way. They're like, I believe this, I believe that, leave me alone. I want to watch television. Television programming. Here's my suggestion to you guys. Your friend that brought you here, he knows the truth. We don't, and flat earthers know that we don't know. Globers think they know everything. Okay? Get the app. It's $3. Don't subscribe. You don't need to talk. I don't want you talking to any other flat earthers. You only have to subscribe to talk to other flat earthers. You can get, they can send you a message, like if there's a meetup or something. But don't subscribe. It's $3. And just every day watch the daily video and watch today's video. Watch today's video. It's the best one ever. If you miss it, hit this button and it'll be there. It'll be there listed. The previous videos are there. Watch today's video. Funniest video you've ever seen. Destroys NASA, destroys the globe, destroys everything. Hysterical. All right. And then you too can be a flat earther. But guess what? Flat earthers are going to rule. Flat earthers, people are like, oh, I became a flat earther in 2023. Oh man, I beat you by a year. Okay. Everyone's going to be a flat earther. We're all flat earthers. Some people are just deceived.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you so much for your time and your wisdom. And
no problem. It's the Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app. You can send them a link and watch it. Learn the stuff. And if you still think I'm crazy, collect your 3 Bitcoins. 3 Bitcoins, one proof of the globe. You don't have one. Okay. People way more advanced than you guys still can't get them. All right. This is the most important deception. The globe is the thing that keeps you right where you are. Now, a lot of people, life's not so bad. You work, you like your job. Maybe you like your job. You got a good partner, excuse me. You got a partner, you got a good family, nice car, house, vacation home. Not about that. Wait until you really take your power back. Excuse me. I'm at the limit of my ability to talk.
Yeah, awesome, man. That was awesome. Yeah, thank you. Anyone else before we shut this down?
All right, guys. Peace.
Thank you. That's very
Take
interesting.
care. God bless. Yeah.
All right. Think, and it'll forever change your life. See you guys.
Peace. Yeah.
Thanks, Dave.
Bye-bye.